Let's flip this. There we go. Hey, what's up, folks? How are you? Sorry about that. I had stuff, scooting here. I find it difficult sometimes to edit down a video because the computer I'm on has power issues, and that old laptop won't do it. So I find it easier to just do a live stream and get it done. Sorry, it's been a while since I've gotten any content up in a while. But with the holidays coming and all that kind of fun stuff, you look for tool deals and all that kind of fun stuff. And you go through Acme Tool, and you go through the big, obviously the big box stores, Lowe's and Home Depot. I was a Makita man for a very, very, very long time. And it was the only tool I bought because I didn't like Black & Decker, and I didn't like the yellow colors of DeWalt. So I always did like the fit and the feel of Makita, where DeWalt didn't give me that. And Milwaukee was not as kind of hard and fast into the area, into the tool sector. And my Makita worked great for me. It really has, and it still does to this day. The only caveat being that the good morning. How are you, Brian? The only reason why I don't use Makita now is because the batteries outcost the cost more than the tool does. So the tools still work great. It's just always the batteries. So I got to find. I saw a guy that was on there that was saying you can send your old packs back and they will refresh them. They'll just take them apart and put new cells in them, and away you go. But last night I picked up M12. I already own M18. Okay, this just happens to be one key. M18. And I love it. I really do. I have tried Rigid. And it was a great tool deal, and the problem, and it worked out. Nice drill. The problem I have with the Rigid is just the ergonomics. Right around here, see how this is hard plastic and this is the over-molded rubber? That when you wrap your hand around here, you can get a full pull. On the Rigid, this is all covered on both sides of the trigger and overmolding. I hate that. The problem I have with it is when I go to pull the trigger on there, so I can get a full pull on that. Ugh. If Makita, I don't, see, the problem is Milwaukee, Brian, is that a way that they're just pushing, they're pushing their brand very, very heavily. And had it not been for this deal of this one key for $125, I don't think I'd really be into Milwaukee. Not saying that this tool is bad. This tool is awesome. But I already had Makita. And Makita has done very well. And there's no other circular saw that I would use than my Makita circular saw. Tons of power. It just feels good in the hand. It's a solid tool. It's not a bunch of jacknutty stuff that's all over it. The problem I have with skill saw is it's too busy. When I look at the tool, it just seems a little too jazzed up looking, if that's even anything to it. But had it not been for this and the hammer and the impact driver and the light for $125, I don't think I would have bought Makita. Yeah. Now, I tell you, Ryobi Ryobi in the early years was awful. And I think for a lot of people, it's going to take a lot of people to get out of, oh, that's Ryobi. And Ryobi really sucked. Those early tools were just awful. And I think TTI has done probably the best that they can do in trying to get people to turn over onto Ryobi. I know that they've made a lot of heavy-duty changes in the line, and I applaud them because those guys, instead of, keeping the trajectory of price point, and they've done it. I'll tell you what happened to Black & Decker for me. Black & Decker had their standard plug-in drill. It was $29. The outside was cased, and then the inside, the motor section of it was in, it's not thermal molded plastic, but it's, what's the plastic that's in there? Really? Yeah. So I have, let me hang on here. I have a new Ryobi, and the chuck wobbles after 6 months. My old Black & Decker hammer drill lasted 8 years. Wow. So is that just the screw that's inside the chuck, you think, that has come loose, that they didn't Loctite down? And that's a problem with tool manufacturers. You go to tool manufacturers, and you go to like the Home Depot and the Lowe's and all that stuff, and they'll have a pallet full of the tools. And that's where I think Festool has come on very well, because they're always in high demand, because one of all, they don't saturate the market. Two, they pander to a woodworking type of community that are kind of, an enclave unto themselves. And they have really good stringent quality control, and they don't sell them at the big box stores. I don't know how these guys, will keep this kind of price point thing going. But so Ryobi, I think on that stance has tried to up their game. Where Black & Decker with their old $29 drill, that was a steeple. Now it switched from 4-foot cord to now it's down to like an 18-inch cord. Really? I understand you want to make something profitable that's pretty decent, but putting like an 18-inch cord on it? Come on, guys. I mean, so Black & Decker has done this with their tools. Very happily to do so, because they want to hit a price point. You don't go for the low-hanging fruit, but you give it a value. And that's what I think Milwaukee's doing. I think Makita has always given a good value. All the stuff, all this overmolding stuff and all these newer tools, I'm not a real huge fan of. Before, the handles used to be stippled, and that was fine. I didn't have any problem with wet and grippy and grimy and all that kind of stuff. I just didn't. Now everybody has all this, this overmolding and all this protection and all of this stuff. I'm not a real big fan of it. It is what it is. So I had to upgrade because my drills were done. And I think I had... Do I have it up here? Yes, I do. So I had this. This is the cheap Porter cable. Hey, it's still got juice in it. Okay, this just happens to be the impact driver. And the packs. These are 18 volt packs. Now, the problem I had with this, the company didn't make those specifically, purpose and job. Yeah, I would agree with that. One of the issues that I had with this, okay, great tool, okay, great tool, and this has been beat to death. This has fallen off of, the problem with this is when this fell off the roof, this went with it, and I've had to reseal the pack. Do you see how it's blown open? Okay, this, okay, so it didn't hold. Trying to get packs for this, very difficult. So, again, these tools work. It's always the batteries that let them down. I think the car industry is going to have the same issue. After a couple of years and people start using those cars in the cold weather, you're going to have a problem of a perfectly working car and bad batteries in them. But, I digress. So this was the first ever iteration of a tool that I had with overmolding on it. And it's worn down, it's all shiny. It feels good in the hand. It just is pretty well balanced. Again, it's always the packs that let you down. So I had to switch. So I got M18. And this is one key. I happen to get my hands just on this drill. And impact's another thing. But that's not why we get into this video. This video is on M12 fuel. So I was at Depot and I had to go shopping. I have to be careful what I say. It's Christmas. So I'm going through there, and I always wanted M12 because M18 for day-to-day operations, for what did I do with it? I don't even know what I did with it now. So for this drill, every day, it's too heavy. Okay? It's heavy duty. It's a nice drill. Feels good. It's very solid. But for day-to-day operations, when you put a pack on here, it's just too damn heavy. And that's like a standard 5 amp hour battery. Have a good day, Brian. Have a good day. Be safe. So I wanted M12. Now, when you switch down from 18 volt to 12 volt, 90% of the time in your head, okay, it's not as good as a tool. It's not as sturdy. It's not as heavy duty. It can't do the same job. I mean, obviously the voltage from 12 to 18 is much higher. But 12 volt tools have always been kind of a dog. They haven't really been, that category really hasn't been looked at in a heavy duty application, in a commercial type of application. So M12, I think Milwaukee and all those people who own M12 products, you know who you are. You know how good these tools are. Now, the interaction between tool companies that I always have is they give you stuff you really don't need. One of them happens to be that stupid flashlight. You know, they give you that big flashlight that you put the battery pack on. Or it's the, you know, the handle flashlight that never is incandescent, and it's cheap, and it's not very good. The one with M18 that I got came with a light with it. That's really nice. I really like that. But the interaction that you get from this with this bag, and I'm not a real big bag kind of guy. I'm not going to use the bag because the bag really doesn't do anything for me. I run a rigid rolling tool cart, and then I'll run it in here. It's not a tool, but they take it and they use it as another part of the system itself that they're giving you. And the first one happens to be the bag. Okay? It's not a big deal. It's a bag to hold the crap. But it's made nice. The material's nice. It's stitched in. It's a nice piece of product. It's really nice. The handles are kind of crappy. The handles won't hang up to anything. But the bag itself is made from heavy Cordura. It's got good product placement on it. It's nice. That's kind of a home run. You know, I won't use that for the tools themselves, but doesn't mean that I can't put connectors and crap, like whatever you need in there. So the pack itself, so this happens to be, okay, it happens to be a 2598-22. Okay, 2598-22. So what do you get with it? So you get a hammer drill. Okay, nice. Again, it feels sturdy. It feels nice. Speed control on top. Okay, this happens to be 2. It's nice positive engagement. Okay, it's a hammer drill. Okay, as denoted by the little hammer. I don't know how much hammering force you're going to get out of it. But you take the clutch. Okay, so there's the lightest. Okay, so you have the hammer feature at the end. This removes the clutch completely. See the little drill. Okay, and 16 is the highest one. So with that kit, you get the hammer 1/2-inch drill. I think that's amazing. They're putting with an M12 a 1/2-inch bit. I mean a 1/2-inch chuck in here, and it is, yes, it is metal on the outside. Okay, it's the same chuck that's on M18. Okay, it's the same chuck. I think it might be a little smaller, but whatever. Okay, so it's a 1/2-inch chuck, 2-speed, over-molded grips, which I'm not a real big fan of. Okay, so that's the hammer drill. Okay. Okay, and a little impact gun. Okay, these are fuel. Alright, I do like the fact that these belt clips, they got it right. They did. They got it right. The belt clip itself is something kind of nice, but I typically have a bag or two that I'll shove this, I'll shove this in my work belt. Up on top here, so it gives you 3 speeds plus a screw, a metal screw into studs speed. So it tends to ramp up and then go to full speed. Okay, so this is a 1/4 inch. Okay, a 1/4 inch chuck that you pull out, insert your bit, and stick it in. Away you go. Okay, again, it's balanced nicely. Comes with a 12-volt 4-amp-hour battery. Okay, this is the high output 4-amp-hour battery. Okay, whoops. Of course, everything's backwards. Okay. And then it comes with a 2-amp-hour battery. This is, I think, the deal that Home Depot, when they put this together, when they put this package together with Milwaukee, I think they got real smart. Because you can get the same deal over at Acme Tool. It's $199, and it only comes with a, instead of a 2-amp-hour battery, it comes with an 1.5-amp battery, 1.5-amp-hour battery. Where this comes with a 2-amp and a 4-amp-hour battery. I think that's really good for Home Depot. I think those guys did a nice job at that. And also, okay, M12 charger to go with it. it's just a charger, no big deal. But it's for $169. $169. I mean, that's cheap. I wouldn't say it's cheap. I think it's an incredible value. I think it's a wonderful value. So you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces for $169. They had it normally at $240, and I think that's about the right price for it. But for a 4 amp hour battery, now the thing that takes me a little bit to get used to, I kind of like these 4 amp hour batteries because it gives me a base. Okay, so I can set the tool down on that. Gives you a little light. Okay, I like the trigger lock itself. The trigger lock itself is very, very positive. Okay, the overall ergonomics of how it fits your hand is very good. I think it's a tad fat, where I think the Porter cable is a little more skinny. Okay, I'm used to this because I can wrap my hands around that, and that feels really comfortable. Where this has this kind of balloon shape to it. Okay, so it tends to get a little fat in the hands. I have smaller hands, so I would like it a little bit more than that. But again, okay. One thing I don't kind of like too much, see that hole in there? Okay. I'm a guy that if there's a hole, there's got to be something in it. And if there's something in it, there must be a hole for it. So, I'm not sure what that's all about. Okay, I'm not sure what that's all about. I just don't. I have to read the manual. Okay? And then the drill. It's a very positive engagement with both of the batteries. It's got to loosen up a little bit so far as in there, but it's a little 2 amp hour battery. And it's a very positive engagement. The fit and finish is pretty good. Okay, as it goes into here, there's no, it fits nice. It fits nice. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to charge these up. They just came out of the box, so they only have a little bit of juice in them. And they're cold yet, so I got to bring them in. Warm them up so that they can charge correctly. But I think M12 is a home run. I think a lot of people will look at M12 and go, oh, that's just a 12 volt 1918. Day-to-day tasks, I'm using M12. I did have a chance to do a TV installation, and I had to run, I think it was 3.5-inch lag bolts. I actually used this, and it worked. I didn't use this one, but I used my brother's. And it worked extraordinarily well. I was amazed. I was like, that's a 12-volt tool. So, I think Milwaukee kind of hit it out of the park with M12. And they've been working with M12, I think this is their 3rd iteration now. These are Gen 2 tools. Okay, that's why this is probably $169. But they have their new tools that are out now. They're Gen 3. I think it's a Gen 3 that they're up to. I don't know. Maybe it's a Gen 2. I don't know. I'm not up on Milwaukee as a lot of guys are, but it's a home run. So M12, good job, Milwaukee. That's kind of cool. I'm liking this. I'm digging it. So we're gonna charge it up. Oh, I like that. So the base of the 4 amp hour battery, okay, has an over molding on it, and it keeps it from, it's getting across the thing. I don't know if I like this. I know it keeps the compactness down of it, and you can lay the tool flat as opposed to standing up and it falling over and hitting something. I'm not sure, but that's what we got. So I'm going to wrap this up. Go check it out. It's a 2298-22 for $169 at the depot. So go check it out. It is getting around the Christmas holiday. So it would be Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. And I don't know much about Kwanzaa. But if you celebrate Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa, I guess. If you're Jewish, happy Hanukkah. I think that's how you say it correctly. And if you're a Christian like me, Merry Christmas. So, have fun. Enjoy it. Go check out these tools from Milwaukee. Kind of cool. Sorry, Makita. I looked for a while, but that M18 deal got me sucked in, and the other one, this M12 deal, got me sucked in even more. So, enjoy your days. Alright, guys. Now, as I always say, don't believe in a system. A system only deals in a process. Deal in people. Dealing with people gives you meaning and purpose. Thank you all. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.